Hello everyone, this is Rachel here with FintechTV and we are live at Solana Breakpoint in Abu Dhabi. I am joined by Ian Rogers, who's the Chief Experience Officer at Ledger. Ian, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with some contextualization. Let's talk a little bit about digital security, especially in the context of some of the recent hacks that we've been seeing.
Sure. I mean, Ledger has been around and trying to address this problem for 11 years. And fundamentally in crypto, you need to protect that private key. And it doesn't matter if you're an individual or if you're an institution. You have this new form of money. It's permissionless money. And that's what makes crypto special, right? If not self-custody, why crypto is what they say. And really that goes for institutions as well. So, this year has been the worst year for loss ever in the history of crypto. And unfortunately, we'll probably be able to say that for the rest of our lives. Not because security is getting worse, but because value is getting greater. Therefore, the size of the prize goes up and more people, including state actors, end up going after it. So, what we do, whether it's for an individual or for large institutions with our enterprise product, or for mid-sized businesses with our multi-sig product, is we try to bring, the best and easiest to use products, but with the best security and no compromise on security and no compromise on self-custody.
I do want to go onto the product side of it a little bit more, but in your opinion, with some of the recent hacks that we've been seeing, what have been the nature of your discussions with institutions? Like, are they feeling more nervous or is it just growing priority?
I think really that, the challenge is when you have large institutions that are maybe not using the best security. Ledger Enterprise, it really is an enterprise solution. It's built for banks, it's built for governments, it's built for exchanges, but it's pretty heavyweight, like enterprise software. So I think part of what the challenge is with the things that we've heard is you have institutions that are maybe not as big as banks. They might be projects or smaller exchanges, and they're using basically free software to protect billions in value, which doesn't really jive. If you're going to protect billions in value, you really need enterprise grade tools. This is why we created Ledger Multisig, because you need really, truly, what you need is you need to have your private key protected and offline, which is what Ledger offers. But you also, at the time of the transaction, you need to be able to see what it is you're signing on a secure screen. We've really gotten too used to signing transaction on our phones. Our phones, in 0 cases, were meant for protecting value, right? Phones were built to share information. And they're amazing at it. Ledger is built ground up to protect value. So that's why, you might use your phone to set up a transaction, but ultimately you need to sign that transaction on a ledger where you have the secure screen. So getting that all the way through, again, if someone's using Ledger Enterprise, they have it. If a user at this end has it, but there are some of these people in the middle. If you look at the Bybit hack, 1.6 billion to the North Korean government, that was ultimately because they weren't clear signing on a secure screen. So with Ledger Multisig, it allows you to do at that level, what you can do with Ledger Enterprise. So I think it's, part of the evolution and growing pains of the industry, but we all have a role to play. Like, we need to provide, people need to adopt, standards need to be formed around things like clear signing. So it's part of the growing pains of the industry, I think.
100%. And hopefully we get to a point where it's more proactive than reactive. So it's not in a response to hacks happening in the market. But
this is the problem. A lot of people learn the hard way.
Yeah.
So, you really have to think up front, what are the risks? What's the worst case scenario? We're definitely in a world where people just want to get stuff to market.
Yeah.
And I understand, but, please partner with security experts like Ledger and, help us get you there. Let us help you get there safely.
Speaking of getting stuff to market, so I have my original Ledger, which was, the small kind of USB stick. You mentioned the multi-sig. How have you, as the original hardware, evolved and changed your technology over time?
Well, usability is the reason. Ledger Nano it's iconic in crypto. Everybody knows it. They're on the desk of like any professional in crypto. At the same time, clicking OK with 2 buttons is not really a kind of a mainstream user experience. So we started actually a few years ago developing this with Tony Fadell. Tony is the original inventor of the iPod and the co-inventor of the iPhone, and he created Nest, and we really went for a much better user experience. working on this. This was the Ledger Stacks. We followed that up with the Ledger Flex. This is actually the Solana edition Ledger Flex, which people here at Breakpoint are excited about. And then this year in October, we wanted to take that better UI and bring it down to the Ledger Nano X price point. So this is $179. We wanted to try to get this beautiful touchscreen UI, but down at that sub $200 price point. And we managed to do that this year with this Ledger Nano Gen 5. And these went on sale in October. So really what we're trying to do is to bring much better user experience to security, and then evolve Ledger Wallet to be the perfect companion to everything you want to do. You know, it used to be the case that Ledger was for Bitcoin. You'd buy it, you'd load it with Bitcoin, and you'd put it in your closet for 5 years. Well, now, you know, we're using our crypto every day. We're buying, we're swapping, we're earning yield, we're spending. Ledger has a credit card, the CL card, where you can just easily tap and pay. So now you can easily load your Ledger with USDC or USDT. You can be earning yield on that. And then you can also easily spend any asset, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, USD, anything, just, pay it anywhere that accepts a credit card. So it's really evolved in the last 5 years from being, a device for buying and holding, to being the way you can live your life. I mean, it's really a complete replacement for your bank account that's secure and self-custody.
Incredible. Well, it's great to see that Ledger is actually evolving alongside the market as well. So thank you so much for coming in and telling us more about it and sharing your experiences today.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah.